Minorities make up roughly 39% of the current U.S. population. Of those minorities, an estimated 73 million are eligible to vote. That's a massive amount of people, but unfortunately, those numbers aren't being reflected at the polls. If we want real and lasting progress, then we need to make our voices heard when it comes time to vote and show the world the undeniable power of the minority ballot. Hi, I'm Kaya with Minority Ballot, where our goal is to empower and uplift minority voices where it counts, at the polls. With the 2020 election less than 100 days away, we want to talk about what voters in Texas can expect to see on the ballot when they step into the booth on the big day. So let's get into it. On November 3rd, who and what you vote for can be divided into 3 categories. Those are local, statewide, and national. When it comes to local and even some of the statewide election choices, the specifics of what's on your ballot are going to depend on what county and/or district you live in. Examples of some local offices you could be voting for depending on where you live might be that of mayor, sheriff, tax assessor, or district county judge. You'll also be voting on candidates for the U.S. House of Representatives and the Texas House of Representatives. There are 36 U.S. House of Representatives and 150 Texas House of Representatives, but you'll only be voting for one candidate from each group. Which candidates show up on your ballot depends on your registered home address. You can go to votetexas.gov and enter your address and find out exactly who will be on your ballot. Another great option is ballotpedia.org, where you can find out what will be on your ballot as well as learn more about the specific candidates. Now, let's talk about your statewide choices. As the name implies, these are the candidates that will appear on the ballot across the entirety of the state. We're talking everywhere from Loco to Kermit, from Ding Dong all the way to Bacon. And no, we're not making these names up. These are actual towns in Texas, and honestly, those weren't even the weirdest ones we found. One example of a statewide election will be that of Texas Railroad Commissioner between Democratic candidate Krista Castaneda and Republican candidate James Wright. At the top of the statewide elections this year is a race for the U.S. Senate. In Texas, we'll be choosing between incumbent Republican John Cornyn and Democrat Mary M.J. Hager. Once again, to learn more about these candidates and the election in general, you can visit either votetexas.gov or ballotpedia.org. So, we've covered the local and statewide choices, and now we find ourselves at the main event, the presidential election, where, as you know, incumbent President Donald Trump will take on Democratic nominee Joe Biden. This is shaping up to be one of the most important presidential elections this country has ever seen. There are approximately 73 million Black, Indigenous, and people of color that are eligible to vote this year. Let's get out there and make our voices heard in order to create real and lasting progress for ourselves and the generations to come. I'm Kaya with Minority Ballot, signing off for now. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media channels and stay tuned because we have some more great content coming up.